Your Second Amendment rights are under attack like no other time in history, and the Second Amendment Foundation needs you to take action now. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have pledged to make taking away your Second Amendment rights a top priority through gun bans, gun confiscation, government regulations, and even a gun tax. They have aligned themselves with anti-gun activists like billionaire Michael Bloomberg and appoint radicals like Beto O'Rourke as the anti-gun czar. The fight begins now with your text of Protect 2A to 474747. Text Protect 2A to 474747 to pledge your support and become a Second Amendment first responder. Your right to own a gun and protect your family are on the line. Text Protect 2A to 474747 and join the fight to protect your Second Amendment rights. Text Protect 2A to 474747 to pledge your support and become a Second Amendment first responder.
Stand by.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
So, hey folks, welcome to Eye on the Target Radio with Rob and Amanda. So we're getting ready. We're actually right after this show. We are zooming over to an event so that we are ready and willing thing tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to take a Faster Saves Lives class to learn how they train the teachers and school administrators and lunch ladies and bus drivers and janitors to defend our children, both in first aid and in firearms. So it's a 3-day class, and I'm pretty excited about it. How about you?
Yep, it sounds like it's going to be very educational. We went to that Alice class.
A couple years ago, yeah.
Almost to watch some of those guys in something like this, I think would be very entertaining.
Well, because you get to the Alice mindset, the mindset of the people who went to the Alice class is going to be different than the mindset of the people who volunteer to be those school administrators and teachers to a shooting class.
I guess, and you got to point out if you volunteered versus if someone volunteered you.
Right, because the Alice class, they just kind of scoop you up and say, our school's doing it, you guys are going to go learn it, and right. you got, as they say, you get all kinds, right? But no, I think the bottom line is that all of us really care about our children, and this is the first line of defense to make sure that we can defend our children. We know, we've each seen that school teachers, administrators will give their very lives for the children. And so what Faster does is said, you can
give them a fighting chance.
But you don't have to die to be able to protect those children. You can live, and so can they, while you create that barrier.
Where the police takes them a little while to get on scene, the emergency trauma medicine actually helps if someone's already on scene giving that.
Well, because, so they don't let the firemen, the EMTs, the rescues in until they're sure that the scene is secure, that they don't want to let in the first responders, or in this case, I guess it's the first plus one, the secondary responders, to provide that help if there's a chance they're going to walk in the door and they too are going to be shot. So that's kind of where that line is. And so if you are inside the building, you really are the boots on the ground first responder. But we're going to learn and know so much more. We're going to be experts as of Wednesday afternoon.
Right.
I don't think so.
Today we can just surmise what's going on, but right. We'll know more about it next week.
Yeah, we kind of know what they promised to teach us, but then we'll see what they really, really teach us. So, but I'm pretty excited about that. So, did you shoot anything this week? Did you shoot at all?
No, I didn't. I mean, I look at stuff. I've been scrounging up I got last week I said I got a 16 gauge shotgun, so I've been scrounging up 16 gauge shotgun shells and stuff because that's just not really normal things you find every day.
Okay.
And then I was at a couple of gun auctions recently. That's what our history thing. I want to talk about some of the stuff I notice about it, the gun auctions.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can't shoot, go buy something. It's a
There was that. I was pulling through. I did not go to the range this week. I didn't. There was so much stuff. What I did was I talked to a couple of our a congressman and a senator actually face to face about the ATF, about Chipman, and I thanked one of our congressmen for signing the letter where 142 congressmen signed a letter saying, do not the arm brace. Do not, the ATF, stop overextending. Stop doing.
Well, I've seen that where they were taking public criticism or whatever, they were overwhelmed and stopped taking it. So
the 142 congressmen sent a letter telling the ATF it's overreach to stop it. So one of the congressmen, actually Congressman Dave Joyce, I met him in person over the course of this week, and so thanked him for that signature. And right now it is making sure that they understand where we stand and what the common man's view is of what's going on with the ATF. They've extended the ATF conversation about David Chipman for another week. So you still have time, all of you, still have time to contact your senators and tell them do not confirm David Chipman as the director of the ATF. He has worked for 10 years for the Giffords Foundation and for Everytown for Gun Safety and for Spot Shotter. So they're all anti-gun groups. So for 10 years.
Board number, if you need it, 202-224-3121. So
you can call the Capitol Switchboard. You can tell them where you live, and they will connect you to your two senators at the number 202-224-3121. But let them know that you do not want David Chipman. So right now, Arizona is pushing. So the Arizona elected officials, senators, the congressmen, are asking for Mark Kelly to not confirm Chipman, to step away from it, and they don't expect him to do that. They don't expect him at all to
recuse
himself. But they want him to because Chipman actually worked for him because he and his wife run the Giffords Foundation, and so as an elected official, as a senator, he gets to vote as a senator, he gets to vote for a former employee to put that former employee into a position of authority to take our guns away. It's just wrong. It's just wrong on so many levels, and we need it and want it to stop. So they are asking, a legislative proclamation has gone to him on the floor of the Arizona House of Representatives asking him to recuse himself. You're going to see if he says, I don't have to listen to you state people because I'm a federal senator. Never mind. We'll just not go there. But you get the general gist of where I think we are with that. But what?
Another thing we're seeing is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's trying to dismantle the
ATF.
Disembowel the ATF.
That would be another good word. So
but she's we've seen this before when the first Bush was in office. Mm-hmm. Remember where they talked about jackbooted thugs in the NRA and all that stuff, and this is part of that. Is how much of this do they need? I mean, if they alcohol, tobacco, firearms, explosives, they got plenty of other things. They can just take the firearm part out of it and let them keep playing with explosives. And
it's really funny because I was listening to some of the Second Amendment folks. Some of the people, I hate to say this, in the gun community are like, well, better the devil you know than if they get rid of the ATF, then what's going to happen? Who's going to be in charge of us? How about it's a constitutional right?
Did we need to be somebody to be in charge of us?
We don't have a department of the First Amendment. We don't have a department of the Third Amendment.
And it's the kind of thing is we have laws. It's against a law to kill people, and it's against a law to shoot at people and use guns in an unruly manner. So They don't really need the ATF. The regular police can handle it if the courts would back them up and help them with what they're doing.
And stop the negotiating the gun crimes away is the first thing.
If you read the Constitution and the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers, you can have a field gun and all that stuff. The government's not necessarily going to use it on your behalf and pay you for it.
Read the Constitution. That would be a concept. How many of you guys have actually read the Constitution? Because if you start with the Bill of Rights, each one of them doesn't have a lot of words to it. It's not a big read. It should be a little read and then a big think. It really should be a big think. So I don't know. So I'm not sure what he's saying there. So sometimes we get these comments that are that pop up on our screen that I'm trying to identify and interpret. And in this case, I don't know exactly what I missed. Something scared me. It says, yeah. So anyhow, folks, we will be back right after this to talk about the history of 40.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Had a dirty day? Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps, made from fresh goat's milk and organic oils that detoxify, clean, and restore moisture to skin, will get you ready for your next adventure. These unique soaps are handcrafted in the Blue Ridge Mountains and shipped to anywhere in the U.S. Visit SillyBillyGoatFarm.com for their full line of Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps. That's SillyBillyGoatFarm.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
And we are going to talk about 40 calibers.
I thought you was telling them about us doing breathing exercises.
No, we're not.
Break time, trying to learn how to breathe out of our ear or something.
We're trying to.
We can hear you breathing. It's like, well, it's hard. It's worse than when I stop breathing. So
when you don't breathe, it's not good. So let's start talking there.
I went to a couple of gun auctions and. I realized that the 40 caliber pistol is the Rodney Dangerfield of automatic pistols. And it's kind of funny because America's kind of had a love-hate affair with the 40 caliber since time began. And in the early days, Colt had a gun they called the Thunder. It was a 41 long Colt caliber.
Okay.
It was actually very popular. It was Billy the Kid used one. A lot of the people, it was about a 7/8 size gun to the single action army. It was really funny because it shot a 386 diameter bullet down a 406 bullet bore.
Okay.
So the bullet was way small, but it was still very effective. And they later decided when they were using the Winchester 3840, which was really a 40 caliber also, that they could just use the 401 barrel off the 3840 so that they standardized the barrels on all of them.
Okay.
And but then about World War II, that it went away, but they made modern double action revolvers in the 41 caliber also. When in the 60s, like 1964, I believe, Smith & Wesson came out with a 41 Magnum.
Okay.
It was Elmer Keith's baby. He thought it was going to be the gun the police were going to love it. The big problem was because it said Magnum on it, everybody put it in their biggest gun. So if you're going to buy this great big giant gun, you might as well have bought the 44 as to buying the 41. So it didn't sell as well as they thought it was going to. So by the early 70s, it was pretty much kind of obsolete. You could get them, but you had to order them special, and it wasn't quite the
it just didn't do it. But its power was such, it could have been in the smaller frame. They just didn't
if
put
they
it in
would have
there.
put that in the K frame in the Model 19 gun, then that would have been a super hit because it would have been a lightweight gun with plenty of power. I've never seen a bad shooting 41. All of them are extremely accurate and powerful.
So what's the difference between the 40 and the 41? I mean, so you're giving us the history.
The 41 has a 410 diameter barrel.
Okay.
The 40s shoot a 401 diameter bullet. And like I say, in the old days, they were all the same neighborhood. They just whatever the tool guy was cutting that day was about where they just shot an undersized bullet through it. But the 40, part of the FBI's thing that they needed more power, they come up with this 40 caliber. It actually is. It's a very good round. It's pretty powerful. It gives you a lot of shots in the gun. Smith & Wesson, most of them are at least 12 to 16 shots in the automatic platform. Okay. And they don't seem to be at all particular about ammo or anything. So it just seems funny that they're not selling well. I was at this auction. They had a lot of 45s, 9mm, 40 calibers. The 40s were going for about $250. Everything else was going for $500 and up. And
is it because of ammo availability? Because
ammo costs a little more when the 40s are going, but our first foray with the 40 was a little Walther PPS, and it was very violent in its recoil.
Yeah, it wasn't peppy. Was a very complimentary word.
It was a super accurate little gun, but it definitely said I mean it. And
I was at the oh no.
But when you went up to a Beretta, like a 96 platform or something, or the big Rugers, it was very calm and comfortable gun to shoot at that point.
Right, because there are some crazy people who actually like the 40 caliber concept.
And it's like I say, I've never seen one that was finicky about ammo or anything like this, but it just seems like there's nobody who's wanting to buy them all of a sudden. I mean, I bought a couple of little, when Smith & Wesson and Walter were together, the P99 style things. So it's just I can't see anything really wrong with the gun myself, so it's
okay, but the police doesn't use it anymore. They've gone back to the 9mm, right?
Right, and it's a lot of it is people are recoil sensitive, and they think that the 9mm is going to give them less recoil. Also, too, it adds an extra 2 or 3 shots to the gun size-wise. So it's and I think.
So, do you think the 40 is going to go by the way of like the 45 Gap or one of those?
No, I think they sold way too many 40s for it to go like the Gap. But it's probably going to be like the 41 Magnum, where it's going to hang on for years and years. It's not. You may get to where you have to order bullets special when you go into the shop, because it's not something that they keep on the shelf all the time.
So you're saying to 40 caliber owners, learn reloading, get some gear, so that
or just make friends with your local gun shop, so they know you're coming in every once in a while and buying a couple bucks of ammo, so they keep it in stock. And I mean, if they know they're selling it, they're just willing to sit on it. But if they're not selling it, then they'll put their money where it's something that does turn on the shelf. Right.
So but you can also always keep in mind, folks, that when you go to the gun shop and it's not there, you can always special order. And your gun shop, when they place their orders, they love the fact that they would have orders that are going to turn as soon as they hit the door.
So as soon as it gets delivered, they know they make a phone call, you come in and pick it up. You can't make money faster than that.
Right. And it's not as much of an inconvenience. I mean, my husband typically doesn't like to special order anything because he believes it's an inconvenience to the shopkeeper. And I'm like, on the other hand, no, they don't have to stock it. They don't have to hold an inventory. They are not taking a risk.
And they know it's exactly what you want when it gets here, because you told them ahead of time.
The right size, color, shape, configuration. Right? So, yeah.
But yeah, if you're looking for a deal, it seems like right now 40 caliber is where the deal is. I mean, it's.
So what's the history of the Smith & Wesson 40?
Well, Smith & Wesson made a 4006, I believe they called, was the model number, and it was indirect to this. You remember the shootout in Miami where they ended up having to go to the gun shop and borrow guns because their guns were ineffective against the guys wearing the suits of armor and stuff.
Okay, yeah, I remember now.
So right after that, the FBI did all kinds of testing to see what bullets were better and that's where the 40 came from. Is they were trying to back down. They built a 10 millimeter, and then it was so powerful it was breaking the frames on the Colt government model, and a lot of the people couldn't control it, and so they backed down the power a little bit to get to the 40. So basically, the 40 is just ballistically a 45 automatic, but it holds a lot more bullets. Is all.
Okay, so a ballistic. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, folks, when we come back, we're going to have Yehuda Remer. Master Troy.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Had a dirty day? Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps, made from fresh goat's milk and organic oils that detoxify, clean, and restore moisture to skin, will get you ready for your next adventure. These unique soaps are handcrafted in the Blue Ridge Mountains and shipped to anywhere in the U.S. Visit SillyBillyGoatFarm.com for their full line of Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps. That's SillyBillyGoatFarm.com. Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
This is Dan Perkins with your Songs and Stories for Soldiers, Veterans Tip of the Day. If you're a veteran with a disability, are you interested in a program that could give you a free home? Homes for Our Troops is a privately funded 501c3 nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans to enable them to rebuild their lives. These homes restore some of the freedom and independence our veterans sacrificed while defending our country and enable them to focus on their family and recovery. Since its inception in 2004, nearly 90 cents of every dollar has gone directly to the program to serve veterans. HFOT builds these homes where the veterans choose to live and continues its relationship with the veterans after the home delivery to assist them in rebuilding their lives. For more information, go to their website, www.hfotusa.org, and see if you can qualify for the home of your dreams. This has been your Songs and Stories for Soldiers, Veterans Tip of the Day.
Okay, folks, we are back with our guest segment of the show, and this week's guest, we've had him on the show before, and we will have him again because he's a prolific author of Second Amendment books. But this time, this book that he rolled out took the industry by storm, if you will. And Yehuda Remer, book author, wrote a book called Bullet Points: Reasons Why America Should Embrace Common Sense Gun Laws. And can you imagine the outcry that happened when he started talking about the reasons why Americans should embrace common sense gun laws? And well, we'll let Yehuda tell you. Hey, Yehuda, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Amanda, how are you?
We are doing well.
Good.
So you rolled out this book, and it's been out now just about a week. And tell us about it. Tell us about the response.
The response has been mind-blowing. As expected, I have had an insane amount of hate. thrown towards my way, which was obviously expected because of the nature of the book. However, one of the reasons why I wrote this book is specifically to call out people on the left and right. So everything that was its intended goal has happened. People refuse to do research. People refuse to actually look beyond what the cover is, right? I mean, I even joke that Shannon Watts said, never judge a book by its cover with my new book. And unfortunately, again, as expected, lots of people judge the book by its cover. But if you kind of do the research, and it's really not hard to do the research, all you have to do is go to Amazon or my website and look in the description. You will see what my book actually is. And to see the outcry has been, I mean, nothing short of hilarious. I mean, I sit here on my computer all day laughing.
Right. I mean, the interesting part is, I mean, Twitter has taken to now, if you go to want to share an article, it says, don't you want to read it first? Because before you go to share it. So even if you've read it somewhere else and then you bring it over to share or whatever, Twitter's like, hey, stop, read it. And this is sort of what you're saying about why you're calling people out on the right, because they're sharing things just as a knee-jerk reaction that they've obviously not researched you or the book, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I've been in the industry now for 4.5 years. People know where I stand on the Second Amendment. But the funny thing is, you know, when I'm building up the release of this new book that came out last Sunday, you know, I kind of had a lot of people scared. I had people reaching out to me, asking me if I compromised on the Second Amendment. And I had to guarantee and really reassure everybody. I'm like, I promise you, nothing can be further from the truth. And, you know, obviously with the people who even backed the book, the people who wrote reviews for the book early on, whose names are actually associated with the book, it's like, all you have to do is a little research. And you'll see that bullet points is nothing like what they make it, you know, what the book makes it seem. And we can get into the inside of the book if you want. I mean, at this point, it's out and about. I've posted it numerous times. I've been on numerous podcasts, so I'm not afraid to talk about what's in the book. On the contrary, actually, every time I do, I get more sales, so by all means.
Well, so if you want to share with our folks, because I think that it has value in a couple different ways, and then I'll tell you where I think it can be used or should be used.
Yeah, so for those listening and those who will be listening, bullet points, reasons why America should embrace common sense gun law, my new book, a 13-page book, 220 pages, and every page in between each chapter is blank. There is no text in the book. I am a firm believer that all gun laws are infringements, and I do not believe that we should be embracing any kind of common sense gun law at all. So the book is a troll book, right? It's there to troll people. It's there to make people think. And it's been great because I've had people even come up to me and, you know, like on Instagram and Facebook and say, hey, you know, it's crazy that you would write a book like this. I'm like, well, did you even go to the website and look at the description? And they're like, no. I'm like, go do that. Read the description. If you still have a problem with the book, we'll talk it out. And I've had people come back to me like, oh, man, you got us good. Like, we're going to order a ton of copies right now. So it's been fantastic.
Well, so to that end, this is actually in 1 week is the one of the most prolific sales, right? In that first week thing, you've gone gangbusters. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, I've sold more books just of this book, of bullet points. I've sold more in this first week than I have with any of my other 7 books in the first week. By leaps and bounds. We're talking about it's not even close. So it's been fantastic. It's been fantastic. As of this morning, and I know it fluctuates daily, but as of this morning, I was in the top 10 in the political humor section on Amazon, like right behind Michael Knowles and Tucker Carlson. It's like my name's right up there, and I'm like, wow, didn't think that was going to happen. Didn't see that one coming. So.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Hey, one of our listeners wants to know, how are you treated as a pro-gun advocate at your local temple? What's the thought there of you and your stand on the Second Amendment?
So for a while, I've come to learn that it's like this in whether it's a synagogue, a mosque, a church, it doesn't really make a difference. It seems like the common consensus is it all the same. But when I moved to Texas 7 years ago, and I started, preaching the Second Amendment and trying to get Jews to open up their eyes and wake up to, okay, look, it's going to end up happening. It's a matter of, are you going to be prepared or not? And everyone was calling me, you're a gun nut, you're a conspiracy theorist, all of this kind of stuff. And I took it in stride. I'm like, all right, guys, just don't come calling me when gun. But obviously now we see what's going on in the world today. We see what's going on in America today. And I've had tons and tons of these people who are calling me gun nuts and all this stuff, basically saying, hey, we need a gun. And I know, being in the gun industry, one question, when you do a podcast, I'm constantly asked, like, well, what advice do you give to gun owners or instructors who want to educate all the new gun owners that we have in the country? And my response to that is always, check your ego at the door. And it's so easy. It's so easy to just laugh in these people's faces and say, told you so. But at the end of the day, if someone is coming to me for advice on how to purchase a firearm, what firearm they should get, where can they get ammo, all this stuff, I will, gladly, I check my ego at the door and I guide them and I help them out. So to answer the question, really, at first it was a little rough. People didn't accept it because they just didn't care. They didn't think it was going to happen. But over time, they realized that what I was saying, what I was trying to give over and educate them with really is important, and they need it. So they've been a lot more accepting now.
Well, and once they get to know you and know that your intents are good and your advice is good, and and generally that you're just kind of a nice guy. So once they get past that, because it's really hard to hate somebody that you know.
Right. So, absolutely. But yeah, absolutely. But it's like I said, the biggest thing is not laughing in their face and saying, haha, I told you so. Or at least not doing that until after you get them their first gun and you educate them and train them. Then you can remind them, remember where you came from, remember what I told you so, now pass on the information.
Right. Yeah. So remember how you didn't believe and now you do. Bottle that and share it. That is really, really good advice, because it's like, remembering how you started and how you got there and each person's journey, and then sharing that journey forward as a gun owner, as someone who's responsible for your own self-defense, for your family's self-defense. That is an absolute critical piece of most people's Second Amendment journeys. So, hey, Yehuda, when we come back, I got a commercial break coming up pretty quick here. When we come back, you want to roll out what your other books are? And then I'll talk to you about what my thoughts are for this book, for your bullet points, reasons why America should embrace common sense gun laws. But then we'll talk about some of your other books. So, folks, we're talking to Yehuda Remer, book author. Look him up on Amazon and see the lineup of books he's got.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Seppacool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Had a dirty day? Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps, made from fresh goat's milk and organic oils that detoxify, clean, and restore moisture to skin, will get you ready for your next adventure. These unique soaps are handcrafted in the Blue Ridge Mountains and shipped to anywhere in the U.S. Visit SillyBillyGoatFarm.com for their full line of Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps. That's SillyBillyGoatFarm.com.
Okay, we're back, and as always, remember that Eye on the Target Radio is sponsored in part by Car Arms, car.com. So check them out, go to their website, see some of the cool guns that they've got in the sizes.
Get yourself a Tommy gun or a Desert Eagle.
There is all of that. So there's designs and styles to fit all of your shooting and entertaining. I
mean, they make 1911. They make little pocket 380s and 9mm. It's something to suit everyone.
So our video producer really wants a Desert Eagle. He really does, and so
well, they say take two. They're small.
Yeah, they're not that small. They're not that small. So we're back with the book author Yehuda Remer, and Yehuda really did. He reached master level troll with this new book that he rolled out, and I think it's great because I think that there's so much about people need to learn the lesson of do your homework before you react. Everything is not an emotional reaction without data or knowledge. And so the world does not function solely on feelings. It actually does function on data and information. So Yehuda, my thought on your book is to market it to everyone who's taking a firearms training class so that they can carry the book and then fill it full of actually good information that they will then refer to and research and use in the future.
I mean, that's actually a fantastic idea. And I think I actually might create a meme now with that.
I can see it. I mean, I just took the Mag 40 class with Masad Ayub, and that man you are taking notes. You cannot write as fast as he can talk.
Yeah, the thing is the whole gun industry is all about notes. I mean, the long-range guys, they have notebooks that tell them where their stuff is. The reloaders, they have notebooks. Everybody could use something like this.
Right, and it just allows you to have it. You know where it is.
You
your
can dazzle
bullet
your
points
friends with that cover.
With the cover. Yeah, exactly. So you could actually then reread it, and you could reread it on an airplane. I had someone move seats because I was with a Dan Waz book and the Good Gun Bad Guy book, and they asked to move because my book offended them. So this way I could reread my notes and it wouldn't offend them, except for if they knew what was inside.
Yeah. I really might have to start doing that. I think that's actually a fantastic idea that I didn't think of, that you can use it as a notebook for your gun classes. And that's funny. I like that, Amanda. Thank you.
There you go. And so, and the book, you can market it to say there's lots of room to have you autograph your new book. That could be another one of your statements. So why don't you tell folks about some of your other books? Because your books have such application and such use that your ABCs of guns, I like them for brand new baby books. So when somebody has a new baby, they need knowledge and education, and they need dad to read to them, mom to read to them, and it's the perfect book for that. But tell folks about some of your other books.
Yeah, so I started off. Bullet Points is book number 8 actually, and I've basically released 8 books in 4.5 years, starting with my first book in 2017 called Safety On, which is an introduction to the world of firearms with children. Just a simple book that touches on all aspects of gun safety for children. It's told through the eyes of a little boy. That way, it's more of a peer-to-peer conversation rather than adult, yelling at the kid, do this, do that. I then converted that to a coloring book so that we have a coloring book version of it. Like you mentioned, I have the ABCs of Guns, which is an ABC book. I have 105 Explosive Gun Jokes, which is the ultimate corny dad joke book. Don't expect it to be laugh out loud funny unless you love corniness, because that's exactly what it was intended. I have a book called 27 Words, which is a breakdown of the 27 words of the Second Amendment for children. And then I actually just released a new book also about 2 months ago called 10 Little Liberals. And, 10 Little Gun Grabbers. I have 10 Little Liberals too, but that was an old book. 10 Little Gun Grabbers. And it's kind of a satirical illustration book about what the gun grabbers in America are trying to do and their responses when they are confronted with a pro-gun notion that combats what they want to do. So that's basically all my books summed up pretty quickly.
And they can find them on Amazon, or all of them on Amazon?
Every single book I have is on Amazon, and okay. I believe, out of all my books, I have six of my books are for sale on the pewpewjew.com, where you can get signed copies.
So you can skip Amazon. You can go directly to the author at thepewpewjew.com, and that way Jeff Bezos doesn't get a cut of it. Yehuda gets 2 cuts of it. So that's generally a better way to do it. so that he gets both pieces. So I've got a couple of statements that have come over the wire. One of them is that I'm supposed to tell you that Yehuda put the troll in gun control. And
I like that.
So you are gun control, or troll control. Troll, yeah. Got it. And I'm supposed to ask you about all the banning you've been subject to when you're trying to post about your books, because you do get a lot of pushback as a Second Amendment book author, correct?
Yes. I have been thoroughly shadow banned. I need to fight with social media constantly in order to get my stuff seen and promoted. It's very difficult for me to sometimes. I mean, I remember, 2.5 years ago, Amanda, when I was still a newbie really in the industry, still getting to know people, I would post, one of my new shirts, right? And I remember you always were commenting on my shirts and stuff like that. I'll post a new shirt now, and I get maybe 2 likes. That's it.
Right. You don't see them.
So
yeah,
no one is seeing them.
Seeing it, right? So how do you fix that? How do you fix the conservative Second Amendment? You're in that bucket of your words aren't worthy of being heard.
Maybe he needs to outsmart them and put his kids in his shirts and then just show them doing something silly in the yard and
TikTok it and video it.
Everybody just thinking they're watching the kids, but subliminally they're getting the message that these shirts are available at the Pew Pew Jew website.
Make your kids do cute things.
I mean, we can maybe do that, but look, at this point, what are we going to do? I can just concentrate on trying to fight social media as much as I want, and that in itself is a full-time job. Or I can just keep my head down, keep cranking out my shirts and cranking out my book, keep building my brand and my name as best as I can through word of mouth, through me. But did you ask, right? Just keep on asking for help. Keep on saying, "Hey guys, I just came out with a new book. If you guys don't mind sharing it, getting it out there, and eventually, I'll be successful with everything that I'm doing to the point where I'll, be able to really make a real living doing it. And there's no need to combat it because it's not going to happen.
There you go. They say the harder you work, the luckier you get. And, man, you definitely are working hard in the industry. So we're right at the top of the hour. Folks, go to thepewpewjew.com. Check out his shirts. I personally wear Woodstock all over the place. And people are like, I love it. And then they look closer at it, and then they're like, oh, that. So it's so much fun. But Yehuda Remer, a really master level troll for this week.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your Second Amendment rights are under attack like no other time in history, and the Second Amendment Foundation needs you to take action now. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have pledged to make taking away your Second Amendment rights a top priority through gun bans, gun confiscation, government regulations, and even a gun tax. They have aligned themselves with anti-gun activists like billionaire Michael Bloomberg and appoint radicals like Beto O'Rourke as the anti-gun czar. The fight begins now with your text of Protect 2A to 474747. Text Protect 2A to 474747 to pledge your support and become a Second Amendment first responder. Your right to own a gun and protect your family are on the line. Text Protect 2A to 474747 and join the fight to protect your Second Amendment rights. Text Protect 2A to 474747 to pledge your support and become a Second Amendment first responder.
Shooter standby.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Hey folks, let's talk a little bit about New Jersey. Well, it's a civil rights wasteland, if you will, where an unconstitutional legal standard called justifiable need keeps ordinary citizens from exercising their right to bear arms. New Jersey, they spit in the eye of freedom. They ignore the Bill of Rights and the Heller decision. As a state, that's what they do. New Jersey's anti-gun politics is a spreading cancer. The Coalition for New Jersey Firearms Owners, and you hear them here, CNJFO folks are on our show on a periodic basis because we really like and respect them. They are a tax-exempt not-for-profit, and they have a goal to defeat justifiable need, to reverse the course on all anti-freedom laws, and to render aid to other jurisdictions by filing Supreme Court-bound litigation. Supreme Court-bound. You hear them, you see it. CNJFO is a beacon for freedom. They are an enthusiastic group of patriots behind the Iron Curtain of New Jersey. Support this Coalition for New Jersey Firearms Owners today, the CNJFO. Protect all of our rights and return freedom to the Garden State. To donate or to learn more, go to www.cnjfo.com. And check them out, because people are like, why don't you just move? That's New Jersey. Move away. If they move away and they're not fighting,
then New Jersey can do what they want, and then New York decides they can do the same. And
then it comes to a city or a town near you. Right. So we want to encourage them, CNJFO, to stand, hold the line, stand tall, stand proud, and we want each of us
and like I said,
to help them.
Where they're going Supreme Court, Heller took 10 years to get to the Supreme Court. So there's a lot of lawyer fees in 10 years' time to get to
It really, I think it actually was more than 10 years. I think it was 13.
So
it was a long fight. McDonald was 2 years after that.
If you got a couple bucks that you ain't doing anything with, they could use it.
They can use it because they are doing really good things, and
so
they're very
frugal. When's the last
frugal.
time you just went shooting for fun? I mean, didn't go out and worry about what your timer was or how fast you could draw or what you were doing. Just go out and shoot a rock in the driveway or a water balloon or something so far away you didn't think you could hit it, but you shot at it for a half hour anyhow just because it was entertaining.
It's been a while.
I like to put stuff out that's like just past my credible limits and
see how you can do. See, I am a slow shooter. So the challenge, when I do a challenge to myself, it is with a timer to speed up, because that's where I think that stretching my personal limits really is.
I like when I can pull my pistol out and shoot something at like 200 yards and people are like, you can't do that. So
and you're like, watch me. Got it. No, I like teaching my gun where to instinctively shoot. So it's like, am I training my gun or is my gun training me? That's a piece.
I do a lot of point shooting. I mean, when I'm with my friends, I don't even realize that I'm doing it, but I don't look at the sights or anything until I really got to narrow it down on something. And they laugh at me because I just pull up and shoot my gun and hit what I'm shooting at, and they're like, then they got to take the time to aim to get to the same spot. And,
but I think in some cases maybe it's because they have a gun, not the gun. Because I have some guns that I can point shoot. Just it fits in my hand to the point where it just goes. It just goes exactly where I want it to go.
I have some,
and then I've got some that I struggle with, and I struggle hard.
Some guns are really, really easy to point shoot with, and some guns are a little trickier. Shorter guns are usually harder than long barreled guns. But like I like the R51 Remington. It's built perfectly. It's just it's really a job to clean that thing.
Right. So George Geller says that Carr makes the BFR, and he really wants one of those. So there's a lot of stuff to shop for on that Carr website. Because
they got something for everyone. I mean, high-powered rifles, all kinds of automatic pistols, revolvers, World War II era stuff.
And their concealed carry guns are so slender that you can have a larger size gun in a larger size frame that is slender, and it is way more concealable.
Yeah. And I have some of those that have thousands of rounds through them without any kind of issues at all. And it's funny. My buddy's got the PM 380s.
Right.
Got a matched pair of them, and so he bought new mainsprings to go in under the barrel. Well, the new springs are so much more energetic than the old ones that you can't hardly put them in the thing. We're chasing them around the kitchen.
Okay.
So one guy's got a hold of bed sheet up while the other one is trying to load the spring in place.
Underneath it.
Shoots back behind you. And catch it in this bed spring, shake it out, try again.
That is funny.
And your old spring goes right back in, but these new springs, they hadn't been in the gun at all.
Are you sure that they're the right spring?
Yeah, they're the right spring, but they're about an inch longer than the original
than the compressed
till they
springs.
get in compressed and sit in there for a while.
So did you finally get them in?
Yeah, we finally got them in.
Did you persevere, or did the springs persevere?
Well, the first time I lost one of the little pieces. We had to order more parts. There's like a little plastic shoe that goes in there. And we couldn't find that, so we had to order more. So then after that, that's when we've come up with the
bed
sheet thing too.
I cannot even imagine his wife coming in going, "What are you two doing under the sheet here in the kitchen?"
No, he's under the sheet. I'm holding it like a bullfighter, so I can't get away.
Okay, that's the partner. Springs flee him. There you go. There's your new title. Springs flee him. There's a lot of parts that I have seen where it's like, okay, there's something missing. Where is this missing part? How can I get another one of these things that is missing?
Gun designs today are a lot better than they used to be. In the old days, a lot of the stuff was loose, free parts,
and it would take off.
And now, like, the mainsprings are like one little unit that's all linked together, so that you don't have to three or four springs all hooked together that all of a sudden fly apart or something. So the new ones are so much better when you just push a button and the gun comes apart and all the pieces just drop out there, nice and easy to put back together again. The old days, you got down as close to the floor as you could and rolled the sheet over you and push this button and see what
flies out. I have to say, I am, and I know that there's this thing that everybody needs to know how their guns come apart, and I know how the gun I shoot all the time comes apart, but not the other one. So the other one, I don't have to know because I have you.
The old Colt, like the 1908 and the 1903s, where you had to you put it on halfway and lock the cylinder, then you turn the barrel like a quarter of a turn,
right?
And then you unlocked it and it come off. Well, sometimes if it was cocked, then the firing pin and the spring was like just hanging there by the trigger. Okay. And so when the guard come off, then it goes pew and shot all over the room.
And then you're like, okay, where are they at? Where are they? Where did it go? Where did it go? So we've got, if you're watching the video, when we do videos that are available on OpsLens, and OpsLens is now a TV station, an on-demand TV station on Apple TV, where is it? Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick. So you can tune in there and you can see our show, and it stays for a week before it flips to another show. But so you can catch us that way. And when you do, you can then catch some of the comments that listeners put in, because they'll join us on Facebook, they'll join us on the OpsLens app, they'll join us on YouTube, and it all gets dumped out here. So there's some things that you'll just hear us kind of randomly. Here's a word that goes by, and we're like, oh, it's because the people who are doing the video have a little more interaction with what's going on with Rob and I.
Did you see those mats they have that are for taking your gun apart, and they have like each little piece so you can, when you take it apart, you can lay it apart right there so you don't...
Right, but is it really to scale for each little piece, or is it just to tell you that
it
sort of
gives you
how?
an idea so that you're sure that
How they go back.
It says there's 7 pieces, and I only got 4. Now what do I do?
Right. Yeah, where did the other ones go? Yeah.
Sometimes you have to comb your beard because there's a little spring or clip stuck in there.
I'm just going to say it doesn't get caught in my beard.
One time, years ago, we were at the shop. This friend of mine, he was taking the gun apart, and spring flew apart. He looked all over, couldn't find it. Finally, he's like, I got to order a new one. So I go into the room there where he's working, and here, right at eye level, sitting on the shelf, the spring was just standing on end like somebody stood it up there on its own. But
and you're like, here, is this your part? Right here. Here it is. It's pretty funny where things happen and how things happen. So, hey, stay tuned. You're listening to Eye on the Target Radio with Rob and Amanda, and the firearms world's beard of knowledge.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, KRMAradio.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Seppacool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Had a dirty day? Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps, made from fresh goat's milk and organic oils that detoxify, clean, and restore moisture to skin, will get you ready for your next adventure. These unique soaps are handcrafted in the Blue Ridge Mountains and shipped to anywhere in the U.S. Visit SillyBillyGoatFarm.com for their full line of Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps. That's SillyBillyGoatFarm.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, we are back. And so we've already talked a little bit about Senator Mark Kelly and the Arizona call for him to recuse himself for the Chipman vote. We talked about Marjorie Taylor Greene and her move to dismantle the ATF. And I want to say that both of these articles we got from Bearing Arms and Tom Knighton. And I have to say that I take a lot of stuff that kind of sends me in a direction for research from Tom Knighton, from Bearing Arms, from John Petrolino, from Cam Edwards. And I just want to do a shout out to those guys who work so hard every day to give us Second Amendment information and Second Amendment news. So if you are just sitting around going, I need to read some Second Amendment stuff, go to Bearing Arms, check that out. Go to the Gun Mag, check that out, because you're going to find information. Go to AmmoLand, check that out. You're going to find information in those places that tell you a week or two before the national news tells you what is happening in your neighborhood, in your community, in the Second Amendment community. And just a big shout out to these guys who work so hard to make sure that that information is there and available to you. So, what you got?
Nevada says that they're addressing their reciprocity with the other states, and Ohio's just failed to respond to them.
Right. So
they've taken them off the list.
So there is no reciprocity. So if you're traveling to Nevada and you believed that you had reciprocity, you need to double check it, because they released a letter that says that they will remove these states from their list. And that would be Florida, Ohio, Mississippi, South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, and Virginia. And so there's
Utah
some
only partially, because the regular permit is fine, but they have a provisional permit for 18 to 20-year-olds. And which I still wonder is, how do they get a gun, because they're not allowed to buy a...
They're not allowed to buy a gun, but somebody else can buy
a mom's gun?
I guess. So there's a variety of states that allow 18
I know West Virginia has something on that same order where if you're underage, you can apply for a different...
Well, yeah, there are a variety of states that allow someone between 18 and 21 to have concealed carry if they have access to a gun from some
But this is
place.
just a heads up, folks. Things change. If you're traveling, make some phone calls. Do some internet research. Make sure you know what's going on before you
the best
think
thing,
what's going on.
and remember, it's the internet. So the internet is a font of information, and it's available to you.
Well, but you can go to that state, and it at least tells you what date they upgraded their information and stuff like this.
So
instead of getting it from Merle down the street,
for some guy who lives in his mother's basement, you can actually get it from the Attorney General of the state you're traveling to. So those websites will give you kind of a heads up of where they're headed, that kind of thing. But then truly go to the Attorney General of the state you're traveling to, get their instructions, because you can never be too informed. You can never understand the rules enough. Overage is not something, so you're good.
Well, the national matches are saying they're open and running this year, but they're using some COVID rules and everything, so make sure you pay attention to...
If it's on the internet, it must be true. A quote attributed to Abraham Lincoln. So there you go. So they are going to the national matches, which is happening at Camp Perry. They're following a series of COVID rules. And the interesting thing is that I don't know which COVID rules they're going to use, because Ohio has pulled back most of their COVID rules, yet the the understanding that I had at a point about Camp Perry was the fact that you were going to have to wear a mask at all times unless you were actually shooting. And so I think that that's going to impact the quantity and quality of the shooters who are going to join, because in the past they've had over 4,500 annual participants join them at the national matches in Camp Perry. But right now they are opening registration for pistol, for small bore, for long range, for rimfire, and for rifle. So you can go to the CMP and the Civilian Marksmanship Program using the Google, find that, and you can register online, drive to Camp Perry. It's a beautiful drive. It's a beautiful place. And it's an adventure because they have and
when you sign up, when we were there, they gave us T-shirts that you could wear.
And we went
I was
to
there and you weren't.
We went to a small bore rifle class, and when we did the small bore rifle, they trained you what to expect, and then they did it, and they hooked you up with a team of other people who did it. So it gives you this opportunity to see to walk with somebody so that you're not just on your own, because that's what stops me from doing so many things is I don't know the rules. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's expected. I don't want to make an idiot of myself.
When we got out there, we could have signed up as a team so that it was you and me being an idiot together that not knew what we were doing, but we teamed up with two other guys that had actually been there before.
We're like, I know what you know, and you know what I know, and we both don't know what we don't know.
So I hooked up with Steven, and you got
I got Chris.
And so we worked the pits together. We worked we were on the firing line together, and they showed us how to work the sling and do
how
the
to
stuff
do it,
and what was expected of us. It was a lot more fun than had we just stood there in the corner by
and
ourselves.
Stayed together going, what are we doing? I don't know. What are they doing? That group over there is doing something. Let's do what they do. Right? That's not it. So we do a lot of that.
Another team that was next to us was shooting our targets. So
there was right. I think that they were doing they don't know what they're doing, and they stayed together. We got guidance and advice from the experts. So your guy actually was moving from the West Coast to the East Coast, and he timed his move so that he could stop in Ohio, shoot at the national matches, and carry on.
Stay for a week, shoot the matches, and head.
He was moving to Connecticut. Yeah, yeah. It was pretty amusing that was kind of what his plan was to do that. But Camp Perry and the national matches it should be a bucket list item to go to take one of the pistol schools, to take one of the rifle schools. They'll teach you everything that you want to know, that you need to know, and then you can always join the CMP and get and buy yourself an M1 because the military surplus, right? I can't hardly hold them up, but they're still pretty cool. Hey, when we come back, we will talk more about the current news.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Had a dirty day? Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps, made from fresh goat's milk and organic oils that detoxify, clean, and restore moisture to skin, will get you ready for your next adventure. These unique soaps are handcrafted in the Blue Ridge Mountains and shipped to anywhere in the U.S. Visit SillyBillyGoatFarm.com for their full line of Grunt Goat Tactical Soaps. That's SillyBillyGoatFarm.com. Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
This is Dan Perkins with your songs and stories for soldiers, Veterans Tip of the Day. If you're a veteran with a disability, are you interested in a program that could give you a free home? Homes for Our Troops is a privately funded 501c3 nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans to enable them to rebuild their lives. These homes restore some of the freedom and independence our veterans sacrificed while defending our country and enable them to focus on their family and recovery. Since its inception in 2004, nearly 90 cents of every dollar has gone directly to the program to serve veterans. HFOT builds these homes where the veterans choose to live and continues its relationship with the veterans after the home delivery to assist them in rebuilding their lives. For more information, go to their website, www.hfotusa.org, and see if you can qualify for the home of your dreams. This has been your Songs and Stories for Soldiers, Veterans Tip of the Day.
Okay, well, a couple weeks ago, maybe it was a little longer, we had Rob Pincus on the show, and he was talking about the gun makers match. And so it has happened. It happened this weekend. And Stephen Gutowski, Gutowski, Stephen Gutowski, who has a new online magazine called The Reload, he wrote an article about it. And so here's the thing that I want to say is, one, scurry over to The Reload and read about it. And then if you decide that you like The Reload, then join so that you can watch and hear and see what's happening. But I'm looking at the picture of the gun makers match. And so this was designed for people who build their own guns, for the 80% lowers, for the 3D printed stuff. And I think this is brilliant. It's an absolutely brilliant new step into the industry to get people involved in a different way than they've been involved before. And one of the things that I'm going to say that you're going to notice right off the bat when you go to The Reload and you look, there is a group photo. And in the group photo, I would say that the average age is in in the high 20s, low 30s.
It's surprising how young all of them are, instead of you thinking they're old curmudgeon machinists. And
right. So it is a lot. So there is driving to the Second Amendment a whole new energy that crosses over. And it crosses over from...
I think that energy is always there. It's the fact that...
You don't get to see them.
Well, young people don't have a lot of expendable money. They tend to end up with either a hot rod or a girlfriend, and that kind of cuts into their money.
But having a little 3D printer and the ability to do this on their own...
They can do this instead of their hot rod or their girlfriend.
They can tinker.
And they can afford to get in on the beginning stages of it.
I think it's a brilliant move. So check out Stephen Gutowski in The Reload and read the article about the Gunmakers match, because that's just, I think it's a really good thing. I think it's a place that you're going to watch more drive and energy. You're going to watch the government push back.
Some of the stuff actually looks pretty good in the photos. I mean, you're expecting to see something that looks more like the Terminator without his skin on.
Right. But no. So so we're talking about the Gunmakers match as a place to watch. Here's another thing to watch, is that there is going to be a battle with the federal gun laws and Missouri, because the president is actually calling Missouri out and saying that they cannot.
They just signed the other day saying that federal gun laws don't have no place in Missouri.
And see, some of the other states are doing that.
The police departments have all said that they are not going to...
They're not going to assist the federal government when the federal government comes in to try to invoke a federal gun law.
Like I say, when you see this, though, the first thing you're going to see is the ATF is going to tighten up on the sales of new guns, so they're not going to be able to purchase guns through manufacturers and stuff like this.
Yeah, you're going to see a push in their state. There's no doubt about it. But watch this, because it really is a battle of the Second Amendment. It is a battle of states' rights, and it is going to be a battle of government overreach. I was talking to Senator Rand Paul the other day, and he says, part of the issue is senators and congressmen in Washington really shouldn't be this busy, and they shouldn't be there that much, and they shouldn't be passing so many laws, because they should be, those rules and those laws and those things should be pushed to the state level, not to the federal level. And when it's federal overreach, and so trying to pull it back. Well, right now you're seeing medical marijuana, you're seeing the Second Amendment, you're seeing some of the COVID vaccine and COVID rules being marked as a state's rights, where some governors refused to lock down their state, and others were like, okay, president, okay, government, you want us to lock it down? How tight do you want to lock down?
We've seen this coming since the 70s, and it's slowly been building. It's right now it's really at a frenzied level. So there's a lot of different, I guess points that are at the forefront. Could be anything. I mean, for a long time I thought it was going to either be gun rights, marijuana, or abortion rights were going to be but now that there's so many things, and then they keep throwing out infrastructure, which every state, they send their money to Washington, they get a percentage of it back.
And then Washington says, if you don't abide by everything we say, you're not getting any of it back. Well, then they're going to stop sending it.
And then so they don't get money. They don't get their money back to build bridges or to redo the pit roads or any of this stuff. So they're there's a lot of things that they're just about had enough. We don't know exactly when that's
going to be, but it's going to be really interesting. But watch this, and when you watch these little battles, just think states' rights. Think who's correct. What does the Constitution say?
If you read your history, if you're interested, the same thing was happening pre-Civil War. So starting about 1854, it's a nice, interesting read. It pretty much explains what's happening today. It wasn't about highways and abortion, but same general principle.
Kind of general principle. And and we're going to see it, and we're going to hear it, and it's gonna kind of be shoved at us. There's no doubt. But Missouri is the place to watch right now, and or any of the states that start to pass this Second Amendment sanctuary, because that's kind of the spot where it is. Here's another interesting thing. I don't know if you were hearing this, but I am hearing on the news that they're now actively advertising oh, do you want marijuana? Do you want medical marijuana? Do you want access to marijuana? Here, just call this doctor and they'll prescribe it without you having to do anything. So for a state that has medical marijuana, they're now actively marketing that. Keep in mind that if you get a medical marijuana card, you cannot purchase a new firearm using a 4473 form because there's a question on there that then you would have to perjure yourself to answer.
Also, it voids your concealed carry permit at that point too.
So keep this in mind that they're marketing to you in a way to where you will lose some rights. You will lose that right, and they're just going to be la-di-da-di-da-di-da. And it's
they don't
coming.
care about your rights. They care about selling marijuana.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. In this case, I actually think it's like a government ad. It's not even a company ad. So it is the government that is marketing it.
Maybe it's the government who figures if we can't ban the guns, we can trick everyone into getting a card, and then they'll ban the gun for themselves.
And they self-incriminate, self-regulate, self-ban.
Right, and so it makes our job so much easier.
It may be. That's not one of those where it's a suggestion. Kind of like speed limits are suggestions. It's not a suggestion. It's a felony. We'll just say it's a felony, and those matter. Those really do matter.
So. Here's the one. If you go to Disneyland, there have record numbers of people are being located going through the gates with guns in their pockets.
20 people have been arrested in the last 4 months, and compared to 4 arrests in 2016. So, yeah. So is it more people carrying guns or more people carrying guns thinking it's my secret?
About your gun in your pocket, but this one woman was arrested. She had a 9mm in her purse, and she also had a 45 and a bag of marijuana in her diaper bag. So she was ready for whatever was happening at Disneyland.
Right. Well, we're back to the marijuana and the firearm.
But they tell you that most of the time, if you just have your license and everything, they have lock boxes that you can keep your gun in. More likely, after you're discovered, they offer you the lock box. Or you can take your gun off of their property and then come back and enjoy the day at the park. If you're already there, leave your gun somewhere and then go to the park without the gun ahead of time. They're saying they're using whatever kind of technology that they have in Las Vegas that actually can spot the gun on you.
Yeah. So what is it? Like a dog, a Hoppy's number 9 sniffing dog? I mean,
It says artificial intelligence that detects concealed firearms on passing guests.
Okay, it's because they're reading your grunt style T-shirt. That would be the first part, right? They're looking for your 511 tactical pants. They are.
That's why you should, when you're out in public, you're supposed to wear like a John Deere hat or something like that.
As
it
opposed
doesn't say
to
Magnum Research or shoot for the face or something like that.
Right. Well, those do tend to give you away. But I wonder how they find it. I mean, it can't be a metal detector because how much other stuff is there?
Right. Well, the thing is, it could be a metal detector, but it's just smarter than normal, so it has to do it in 3 or 4 different locations to finally say yes, we're 85% sure that this is a gun or something like that.
This is a gun.
I mean, compared to being your wooden leg or your metal leg or whatever.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I just figured that it was
All right, so we don't care about the fact that they got it. We just want to know how it works, right?
John Petrolino says, back to the marijuana thing, that he's quoting Evan Nappen, you can bang or you can bong, but you can't do both. So that makes a lot of sense. It really is a felony, folks. And if anybody's got the scoop on how Disney scopes out your gun besides your 511 pants, I really want to know.
Las Vegas does it too, so maybe somebody from Las Vegas has an idea.
I don't know. And now that Ohio's CCW.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit ProjectChildSafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Rangemaster certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, not sure if you've seen in the news yet that Mark and Patricia McCluskey, they are the St. Louis couple that the riot was coming to their
held the BLM
house
off with their pistol out in front.
So you know, the gun people are like, bad gun handling skills. Well, they didn't shoot anybody in the face.
But they did take their gun away from them.
So what happened was Mark is running for the Senate. And so they're still being prosecuted, both Mark and Patricia. And so they took a plea deal that was a misdemeanor. So there's no more felonies on the table. There's no more lawsuits. There's no more lawyers. There's no more anything. And the only thing they had to do was to turn in those two firearms that they used. And so they took the plea deal as the misdemeanor, made it all go away, and turned in those two guns. Today in the news, Mark and Patricia are showing off their brand new guns because they didn't give up their ability to have guns. They gave up their ability to own those two guns. So frankly, there's some Second Amendment folks who are like, oh, look at them. They don't really believe in all this. And it's like, no, sometimes you've got to look at cutting your losses. So the world loses 2 firearms, but they're not going to spend that amount of money on legal fees because that fight was going to go on for a long time. This way, Mark can focus on the Senate. He can focus on a race.
In reality, between what lawyer fees cost and those guns are cheap.
Way cheap. And so it's an interesting thing. But watch the news and see how they say it. And they're like, oh, well, they pled guilty and they did this and they did that. And they're like, they took a misdemeanor, they took a speeding ticket and they paid the fine and they walked away all done, right?
Kind of like Smokey and the Bandit, though. Smirking the whole way to the race car.
That's it. I mean, the fact that everybody's watching what they're doing and they go gun shopping, and so you can't buy press like that. Here is a pro Second Amendment, and I don't know if he's going to run as a Republican or a Democrat because he was a registered Democrat before all this started to happen. But and so that generally
either way,
is,
at least people know which camp he's in.
Right, but that generally is what happens to someone is that they're going fat, dumb, and happy down the path of how they vote, and something happens. And how did you turn into a gun-toting conservative? Well, somebody threatened to shoot me in the face. Then I'm just saying that it's an epiphany that just sometimes happens. Okay.
Okay. Guess what? The Hearing Protection Act is back in the news.
John Petrolino, thanks for writing it.
Actually, it's good news and it's bad news. The last time it was in the news, suppressor companies started going out of business because no one was buying anything.
Everybody went on a hold and a hiatus saying, I'm not going to...
We're going to wait till that law passes. We don't have to wait for the 9-month background check or whatever. Keep buying. This is still in its... And
the last time it was you will get your money back if that's the case. So that would be the interesting...
this says that this bill is pretty much the same. The only thing they really changed is in the old one, there was no states' rights involved into it. So if your state didn't allow you to have a suppressor, it didn't matter what the government said happened. This here allows for the preemption by a state's rights over government.
Okay, right. So that your state can say you can't have it, and then you have to lobby to change your state.
Or they can do different things to it. But as federally, it's going to make it so it's just like buying a gun. You go in, fill out the 4473, do the background check, and out the door you go. Exactly. But if your state says you can't have it, like some states regulate guns with more than 10 shots or whatever.
Yeah, there's some states that regulate so much stuff. Remember, donate to the CNJFO because they're one of those states that's on the front lines of that. But there's others. There's others.
And if you're
just
looking
like
for someplace to go, Ohio's got pretty lenient rules, actually. So.
So the question is, was Rob Dude on the cover of GQ once, or is that an urban legend? My friends are asking. Yeah, it would be a legend. He was on he was on a TV show or two, Vice.
Right.
Yeah. So definitely packing heat and heels. You'll see him if you watch that. So the Hearing Protection Act. I want you to go to Bearing Arms, read that article by John Petrolino, and be informed.
It's identified as S-2050 also, if you're looking for it.
S-2050. So it's Senate Bill 2050. So other things are, people are asking, is it too late to reach out to your congressman to ask them to join in that I can't ever say his name, the letter about the ATF, Merrick Garland, is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Because I always want to call him Garrett Marland, and it's not that. Merrick Garland. So reach out to your congressman and ask them to co-sign the letter. The letter's already gone out. Ask them to copy the letter, sign the letter, and send it out on their own. But they should be doing it. They really should. There's 142 signatures, and we've got 435 representatives, and
so there's room for improvement.
There's room for improvement. Tell them to step up. There is still time for you to contact your senator and to tell them what your opinion is of David Chipman, because that is another thing. We do not want David Chipman.
I don't know what that guy looks like in real life, but every photo they ever got of him, he's got his mouth open. He looks maniacal. He's it's like, is it just that they catch him at just the right time, or is he a scary looking guy?
Well, he's a face maker, but every time, even his side that takes his picture still has him looking like he's growling or mooing or something. I don't know.
It's like every time I see him, there's bad pictures.
Hey, Mom, look at me! I'm on the news again, right? Whatever that is. But we don't. He spent 10 years working in the anti-gun industry, after he spent 25 years working at the ATF, including having some involvement at Waco. Though he says that picture is not of him, others say, oh, yes, it is. So I don't know. If it was him, it was a skinnier him. But then we all
were that many years ago.
Yeah, you go 10 years back, I was a skinnier me. That's there's no doubt.
Shadow of my former self.
Right. So you want your congressman to tell the ATF to stop the overreach on the arm brace. You want to talk about Chipman and tell them no on Chipman. You still want to tell them what you think of red flags and how you need them to stand down on that. There's so many.
You're all for S-2050.
And for the Hearing Protection Act, which is for suppressors. So there's all different things for you to become a Second Amendment activist, because this issue defends so many other issues. It really, really, really does matter. Oh, and here, this one, I want you to think about this. Virginia had been a pretty much a pro Second Amendment state. And then I don't know what happened. The folks moved out of D.C. into Virginia. I don't know what happened, but they're starting to work on Albemarle County is trying to do a gun ban in the county. So even though they have concealed carry, the county is going to tell you where you can and can't have.
I don't know exactly where that is, but if it's right there at the D.C., Reston, Virginia border thing, you can see why, because all of the liberals that are working in D.C. are moving into that section of town now.
Right, so they're trying to stop you from possessing, carrying, transporting firearms, ammunition, or components in or on county-owned or controlled buildings, parks, recreation centers. There are no exemptions for concealed handgun permit holders or for storage in parked vehicles. So you can't go to the park. You can't go to the post office. You can't go to the license bureau. If you're there, you have to go do your whole day's adventures completely disarmed, because there's nothing in there that allows you to keep your gun in your car even. So these are the creeper bills that happen, and when they happen in a city, when they happen in a county, when they happen in a municipality, then other people get braver and they start to extend there. So this is another place where Virginia, and there is a Virginia Citizens Defense League. They need your support. Check them out. Talk to them. See what you can do with them, because they're the front lines. They're on the front lines. Hey, we'll talk to you again next week.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you